Your first step to improvement was clicking on this video. And no, I'm not going to read out a bunch of books in the name of tips and habits. These are the habits that genuinely helped me improve my life, and none of these are groundbreaking because honestly, it's the smallest things that always make the biggest difference. Today, I'm going to share with you 7 habits that I implemented out of the many others which you will find in a part 2 if this video reaches 2000 of you. Less alarms equals no safety net. Just like everyone, I used to set like a million alarms thinking it would wake me up. Like one of them would wake me up, right? Well, one of them would wake me up, but then I would snooze it, go back to sleep, wake up to the next one, snooze it, go back to sleep. Repeat this cycle till the point that no alarm would be waking me up and I would fall into deeper sleep and miss whatever I had to be up for. And there was a point that I got so frustrated with this that I was like, I'm just gonna set 2 alarms. If I wake up, I wake up. If I don't, then I don't, and I have to face the consequences. But because of the fear of facing those consequences, I actually started waking up. The first few days, I slept with the fear in my head that I'm not gonna wake up tomorrow. I'm not gonna wake up by my alarm because I'm only setting 2 or like max 3 alarms. But I would actually wake up on the first alarm, and instead of hitting snooze, I would get out of bed because I knew that there will be only one more alarm after this, or there won't be any. So I need to get up. So let's say that I have a class at 10. For that, I need to leave at 9 because it takes an hour for me to commute. For that, I need to be up an hour or an hour and a half early to get ready, have my breakfast, make sure everything is packed. So I would typically set an alarm for 8 a.m., which is the time I need to wake up, and then 15 minutes after that or 15 minutes before that. So 7:45 or 8:15, and that would be it. No alarm for 8:30, 8:45 because honestly, it's pointless. It's pointless waking up that late. I'm gonna miss my class. So it just goes down to if I snooze, I lose. Movement is a must. There is no single or only type of movement that is the ultimate best. You decide what is the ultimate best for you and your health. Whether it is yoga, weightlifting, Pilates, calisthenics, your favorite sport, swimming, cycling, boxing, or even just some light stretches, as long as you're moving your body. I have been going to the gym since a while, but I was extremely inconsistent. I would take weeks off and then go back for a few days and then take weeks off. It was so hard for me to manage gym with my schedule, and I was not moving. I was also not necessarily fat, but I was much heavier than what I am right now, and it wasn't good for my health either. I would complain every day that I'm not getting enough movement and this and that, but then I also wouldn't make the necessary effort to show up. But I've been pretty consistent the past like 5 to 6 months, and that is all because I implemented a very, very important mindset shift, which will be in a different video. I'm sorry. Movement is so important for you, not only for the health benefits that it, of course, offers, but also it's just such a nice distraction from your daily life, whatever workload you have, for whatever time you're there, for whatever time I'm there, for the 1 to 2 hours that I'm there. I worry about nothing. I am lost in my music and I am lost in my focus of the mind and muscle connection. I love it. I enjoy it and I look forward to it. The feeling of accomplishment after a good lift, and even the feeling of accomplishment after a bad lift, because in the end, I moved my body. I enjoyed it. Instead of just sitting at home and not going, I actually went, I had a workout, and I enjoyed it. A lot of the times, especially during bad days, this is just what you need. This has been one of the biggest help in fixing my routine and also fixing the course of my day. Building consistency with movement is one of the best ways to build consistency in other areas of your life, because once you're consistent in that, it automatically falls to other areas of your life, because to be consistent with movement requires a lot of discipline. Books over scroll. Any teacher or any person for the matter of fact who suggests you to read, whether you're a reader or not, is a well wisher you should listen to. I know it gets annoying. Oh, you should read for this many hours and this many pages and this many books in a month or in a day or in a week. You don't have to listen to them. For someone who is not into reading, it gets extremely overwhelming, and that is not what you want to do, because if you're overwhelmed before starting any sort of a habit, you're not going to enjoy it at all and you're not going to want to do it, which is why even I did not want to do it. Instead of following whatever advices I saw, I just decided to make a rule for myself. Either I read 15 pages or I read for 15 minutes. Now, this would depend on how much time I have throughout the day and how much energy I have throughout the day. So, let's say it's a Sunday, I have the entire day on my hands. I can surely take out 15 minutes to read. So, what I would do is go out, sit in the sun after I'm done washing my hair to let it dry under the sun, and I will have my book and I'll read for 15 minutes or more till however much time I can sit, but make sure that it's at least 15 minutes. And let's say it's a weekday. My weekdays are pretty long because I have college till the evening and then the gym and then my extra work. So it's very hard for me to find 15 minutes to read. So I'll just make myself read 15 pages before I go to bed. This also doesn't need to be a daily thing, especially when you're trying to become a reader. Trying to do something that you don't normally do daily is very difficult, and that is also how you fall out of doing those things, because you're forcing them upon every single day. So take it easy. I do this like 3 to 4 days a week and then just build off from there till you get to the everyday wala point. Make an effort for your appearance. I am a firm believer that it is much better to be overdressed than being underdressed. Now, I had a phase, okay? I had a phase in my first year where I would just see it pointless to dress up, and there would be only like 1 or 2 days out of a week or 2 weeks that I would be dressed up. And when I wouldn't be, I found that I was comparing myself to other people I would see who were dressed up. Like, I would just repeat a lot of my clothes because I was saving my other nicer clothes for going out. Like, at that time, I was very adamant of not putting in that effort because it was like, I'm just going to college, like, I'm not going out anywhere or anything like that, until I realized that me going to college is me going out, because I'm going out and about. I'm commuting, I'm going to college, I'm attending classes. Sometimes there are events, sometimes there are fests. I would rather be overdressed than underdressed. And sometimes I make plans right after college. I go out with my friends, I get picked up by my friends. So I would, again, instead of being underdressed, I would rather be overdressed and be ready for any situation. Now, putting all of this aside, the going out, the getting picked up, it is much more important for you personally than for other people to see, because I just felt so much better and so put together, like ready to take on the day, when I had my outfit on, when I had my skincare on, my makeup on, my hair, and my bag. Because I have an obsession with buying bags. I have a lot of bags and I like to match my bag to my outfit whenever I can. I know it's definitely excessive, but I have so many bags. What am I gonna do if I don't wear them? They're just gonna sit there. Similarly, with my clothes, they would just sit there because I felt shy. I didn't feel the most confident trying out those clothes at college. I would rather wear them with a friend that I know they won't judge me. If that makes any sense, I don't know. I guess it's all about comfort, but that is why it is so important, because it pushes you out of your comfort zone. It pushed me out of my comfort zone and explore with different type of clothes that I have, what actually looks good on me, what actually doesn't, because I would wear the same thing over and over again and I would feel the same over and over again, and I don't want to feel gloomy again. I like feeling dressed up, I like feeling good about myself. I feel like I zone in my classes so much better because I like how I look. I don't know how to explain this connection, but it is there and it works and I love it. Cut down the damn screen time. This is so important, because we are genuinely rotting our brain with the amount of screen time. We all hate it when our parents say it, but they are very right. It is consuming us. The amount of screen we consume is consuming us. It really is. There are a bunch of videos on how to like cut down screen time and everything. My only issue is when there is a video that says to delete everything. Now, that is not applicable or possible for everybody. And it's not that because you're chronically online, you won't be able to leave it off. That is true. But for some people, it's not possible because a lot of people work on social media. Social media is their work. And also, especially if you're somebody who is chronically online, who reaches to the social media a lot, just like me, it's hard deleting it off because you're so used to reaching to it. So instead of trying to entirely eliminate the problem, which in the end ends up becoming the problem because you cannot do it, start substituting the time that you're spending consuming the screen by doing something else, something better. And honestly, this is not as complicated as it might sound. It's just really the simple things that you could be doing instead of going on your phone. For example, when I'm traveling in metro, everybody and me has a tendency to scroll through reels because we're bored. Instead of doing that, I started carrying around a book. That way, I'm not doom scrolling even on the metro. I'm doom scrolling at home. I don't need to be doing that in metro as well. So I've started carrying a book. I pull that out and I read that until I reach my station. So I substituted 15 to 20 minutes of doom scrolling with 15 to 20 minutes of reading. Make physical to-do list. I am a lover of Notion and digital workspaces where you can make to-do lists and all of that, but a physical to-do list can never be defeated. It can never be topped. The thing with physical to-do lists is that because you're writing them down, that leads to better retention and comprehension as compared to writing the same down on your notes app. So you're more likely to actually remember the task when you write them down. I used to make physical to-do lists, but then I switched to Notion and my notes app, and then I switched back to physical to-do list. And the biggest difference that I noticed was when I was making physical to-do list, I was actually mindful with what I was writing down because I was actually taking a moment to slow down and think through my priorities. And when I was making a digital to do list, I felt like I was just jotting down whatever came to my mind. So I wasn't being as mindful. And then when I would see that there is such a long list, I would feel overwhelmed. Now, this is pretty subjective, so do whatever feels the best for you, but I will still stand by the fact that physical to do lists are much better than digital ones. And let's be honest, the feeling of crossing off a task in a physical to do list is so much more satisfying than just clicking a text box. Make your bed the first thing in the morning. There's honestly not much to this. This is a very basic advice or habit, but it is so impactful because the way I see it is once I've made my bed, I cleaned off my sheet, I tucked it back in, I folded my blanket, I puffed out my pillows. I just disturbed the coziness of my bed. So I don't want to go back into it. I don't because I just ruined the cozy vibes of my bed. So I don't want to go in. It's such a small habit, but it creates a sense of order the first thing in the morning. Like you did something. And it sets the tone for productivity because nothing boosts productivity like a clean environment. Alright, that was the video. These were the 7 habits that genuinely changed my life. Let me know your thoughts and let me know if there are any tips or habits that you implemented that changed your life around. I would love to hear about them and we can help each other out in the comments. There are a lot more habits and mindset shifts that I implemented as well, which will be there in a part 2 if this video reaches 2000 views, 2000 of you, and I will make another part. Till then, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.